Hello and welcome to Outlaw e-bikes. Today I'm going to do a little review on the Bulldog here. I've had a chance to put a few hundred miles on it, so I'm going to give you my take on how it's going with this rig. And one thing about it, this bike is definitely a lot of fun. It gets a lot of questions and a lot of photos everywhere I take it. People really like it. So I'm going to start out with, let's see, the motor. Now this is the Cyclone 6000 on this bike, and it is wide. This engine's wider than the 3 or the 4, and I ran a single chain on it. Now I do have another crank that would allow it to, or a bottom bracket that would allow it to have full-size cranks, but I just kind of ride it the way it is because I just kind of like it the way it is. It's a good bike. And let's start out with, of course, it's got the Enduro frame. It is a rigid, and I ride it just like it's a rigid. That's how I ride it. I see a bunch of big bumps coming out up in the road, and I just lift up a little bit off the seat and relax and go over them and move on. That's what I do. The wheels, I build all these myself, and they got the 12G spokes with a double-walled aluminum 100 millimeter rim, and of course the V tires. I love these zigzag V tires. I found I run them about 15 pounds of pressure on those tires to get them a nice ride where it corners well, and it's, you know, it eats up some of the bumps too, so that works out well. Most of the drivetrain I put together from sick bike parts. You know, you can see there's hardly any parts to that drivetrain, and it works absolutely great with the electronic 3-speed. So it gives it, you know, first it does like 25, cruises along, and then second is 35 or so, and then 40s. I like to keep them all under 50 just because I really don't have a use to rip through these mountain roads any faster than that. Keep it fun. And as far as brakes, this one has a, I think it's a 180 and a 203, which I'll probably upgrade to a 220 soon. It could use a little more brake. Can always use more brake though. And has the 80 amp controller on it. This has a 40 amp hour battery, 72 volt in it. And on the, anyone that's thinking of building one of these, normally the controller fits inside the box there, but on this one with the big 80 amp, that just didn't fit in this. And there's absolutely no reason you couldn't run a 3 kilowatt or 4 kilowatt Cyclone motor on these. No problem at all. I would definitely use these, the linkage here, the heim joints, to eliminate the, originally they come with a zip tie, but I like those heim joints. Those work really well. And this one has clip-ons, which I like. And if you're going to run a low pressure to smooth out these tires, which you can do, because you can run these right down to 5 if you want, you want to widen the bars up a little to give you, make it easier to steer. I like it just about where it is now. And let's see, oh, on the brakes, something I noticed someone asking this the other day online. I use spacers. I can never find the right mounts for any of the brakes, this one or this one. So what I do is I just run a, what is it, M6, the hole is on the spacer. I buy the tubing, and I just cut off whatever size I need. And what I do is I center that piston right on the, that part of the rim on the disc itself, so you can see it. So that way you know what you're doing. You're not doing it blind. So that looks centered pretty well. And I use heim joints back here just because they work good for me. And it gives me some adjustability and height so I can get a real nice stance. And for chain adjusters, I want to use more than what came on the stock swing arm. It has these little adjusters in the back that you lock down with a bolt. But I also added some of these snail adjusters. You can buy them, but I just made these right out of aluminum, drew them out and cut them and took a Dremel tool and put notches in it, and those work pretty well. And the tank bag, that's just from Amazon. That's a, let's see, a Kemimoto, and it's inexpensive. It has magnets on it, and I did cut off the other strap because I didn't like the way it looked. Put the one around the front. It works really good on these frames, and it makes it look better without that flat spot on there. And I think that's looking pretty good. Cyclone, yeah. And if you're going to use a Cyclone kit, I definitely recommend getting the 120 bottom bracket, because you can move the bearings in, and it gives it a nice wide pedal stance on that also. So instead of this is like a 75 millimeter, but go with the 120, and you can adjust it down and keep a little width for any clearance that you might need down the road. So there's the review on that, and thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you later.